Hi, this is John from First North Marketing, and today what I'm going to be talking about is the new search query report and really how you can use this in order to find the search terms that are converting for you on Amazon. So the first thing we need to do is figure out where this report is at. So what we're going to do is I've just logged into Amazon, into one of our accounts. If you go to Brand Analytics, from the pull down Brands, Brand Analytics, and now you'll see this little green button up here that says View Search Analytics. If you don't have it there for whatever reason, you can actually request this from Amazon. They haven't rolled it out to all accounts, but if you request it, they will update your account so you have access to this. So we're going to click on that button. And here, they're going to take us to the search query performance report. Now, we can get this on a weekly basis, a monthly basis, or a quarterly basis, and we can also get it across brands. So in this case, we're going to take this on. I like to look at this monthly. It gives us enough data to work with. And so, we'll look at June, since that's the month we just finished up. We'll hit apply here. And then the important thing here is we also want to make sure that we have 100 rows so we can see as much data as possible. Now, what sort of data is Amazon giving us here? So first of all, they're giving us the rank based on what they think is the most important search term that is giving sales for us. In this case, this is a branded term. What's our search query volume? And then what we can see really through here is the entire funnel process. And this is what is valuable about this report that we haven't been able to get from Amazon before. So we can start off with our impressions. How many impressions is this search getting? So if we take something like this search term keto coconut coffee, we can see that it has 235 impressions. Our brand is getting 9 of those. So we're getting about 3.83%. And then we can also see the next step in the funnel of, okay, so how many of those people actually clicked on that? We can see 5 total clicks across all of Amazon. And then our brand in this case had 1 click for a 20% brand share. There's a lot of other options that we can click in here. In fact, I'm going to click some of these off. We can see shipping speeds. Right now, I haven't really found a good use for that data, but it is something to be aware of. I'm going to turn that off just so we can clean up the data a little bit. But something else that I think is also interesting and worth taking a look at in here, and actually I'm going to toggle that back on, is our price. What is the median price for our brand, and what is the median price for across Amazon of what's being bought? And there's a lot of different reasons for this, but I think that data is an important component into when you look at the whole sales funnel. So now I've updated this. Again, back to our clicks. We were looking at coconut. So keto coconut coffee, we've got 105, 20% brand share. Medium price is $17.29 for the product being sold. The brand medium price in this case is $19.99. We can see our brand count is 1. And so that's okay. Now we need to move over a little bit. So now in this next section, it's our add to carts. So we can see that there was 1 added. And our brand count is 1. Therefore, our market share is 100%. So these are for our added to cart. And then again, we can see medium price. And then we can also, if I scroll over just a little bit more, we can finally see the search funnel purchase. So in this case, we can see that there was 1 purchase, and that was for our brand. Now the numbers are fairly small here, but what we can also get out of this is this important data beyond just seeing the entire sales process from a search term perspective that we couldn't see before, which is an important distinction to understand the difference between a search term and a keyword. So a search term is what the text that the customer is actually putting in order to find a product or a solution to their problem. Whereas the keyword is on the seller side, what we're putting into something like AdWords, or we're putting into our title and bullets and those types of things in order to attract those customers. So search terms, we really don't have a ton of control over. Now we've got some more data on, but really outside of adding negatives to our marketing, our PPC campaigns, or taking off our listings from an SEO perspective, those are really the only things that we can do from a search term perspective. Whereas with keywords, there's a lot of different things that you can do as far as putting them in different campaigns for different match types, changing bids to really control how much you're bidding and how much you're paying for a click based on that search term. So there's a lot of different things you can do with keywords, whereas with search terms, you don't have quite as much flexibility. And it's important to understand the difference between those terms in the sense of a search term is what the customer is actually looking for, whereas a keyword is where you as a seller are advertising against that keyword or putting that keyword into a bullet, and you have a lot more control over that process. So then the other thing, now that we have this data that we can do that I think is really interesting, is we can actually look at, first of all, how many ASINs we have competing for this search term. And that's a pretty simple formula where we can look at total number of impressions, how many went to our brand, how many didn't go to our brand. We can kind of figure out how many ASINs are competing based on that. And then the other, what I probably the most important thing that I find interesting here is we can actually see cart abandon rates for our brands overall, so across Amazon, and then we can compare those two. And there's a lot of different things that we can do with that data where we can say, okay, maybe that's a keyword that we do want to rank for because we're converting a lot better than average on that search term. And vice versa, we may see, hey, we're not converting very well on that search term compared to the rest of Amazon. So either maybe that's a search term that's not applicable for our product, maybe it's too broad, or maybe we just haven't optimized our listing and we need to take another look at our listing in order to optimize it for that search term, and then also advertise against that search term to see what the results of that are. And then the last thing that I find really interesting out of this data is there are some keywords that are for people that really shows their buyer intent. So some of these search terms have an incredible amount of buyer intent. So you see a low cart abandonment rate, both for your own brand and for Amazon as a total, whereas others have a very high cart abandonment rate, 70 or 80%. That means for every 8 out of 10 people, they're adding that to the cart, they're not completing the purchase. And what that tells me is, or my guess on that is that those search terms have low buyer intent. Now, you can have a search term that has low buyer intent, and you can put that into your keyword, and you can advertise against that and still be profitable. So I'm not saying don't put these into your ad campaigns, but if we look at the limited space that we have within our listings and keywords that we want to, or search terms that we want to rank for, then we may want to pick search terms that have high buyer intent, that have low cart abandonment rates. So all things that I find interesting. This report is fairly new. I'm sure there's more things that are going to come out with this. Amazon's going to add more data to this. But those are some of the key components. And the value of this report and what we're using it for right now is to identify those search terms where we really want to rank for them because they're a good fit for our brands and they have high buyer intent. So the other last thing that I'll say is that there are some limitations to this report. The first one being that this data is only reported over 24 hours. So if somebody comes in on a Tuesday, adds it to their cart, but doesn't purchase until Friday, then that's added as an abandoned cart. And that's very different from how the statistics within like your ads manager are reported. So if you look at sponsored product ads, those have like a 7-day attribution window, and your sponsored brand ads have a 14-day attribution window. Well, this search term query report only has a 1-day or 24-hour search term or attribution window. So you just have to be careful there that you're not comparing. And this is the mistake that I made initially, was comparing the data across the two without realizing that we're really comparing apples and oranges because the attribution window is so different for this search query report of only 24 hours versus 7 or 14 days for our ads that we're running. So keep that in mind. I do still think that this data is very valuable, but you do need to make sure that you're not mixing it too closely with your AdWords, because the attribution windows on these are very different, which is going to make your percentages very different. Really, what's valuable out of this is you're able to compare your brand versus everybody else on Amazon and see what those benchmarks look like, and then decide on what keywords you want to move forward with and which ones have the highest potential for ranking for. Yeah, so that's the value of this report. It's fairly new. Again, I think Amazon's going to be adding more to it. I wanted to share this with you guys today because I want to keep you up to date on some of the newest things that Amazon is rolling out. We expect that they're going to be rolling out more into this report and probably a lot of other analytics as we get close to Q4, which is kind of their approach, has been dumping these new tools. And this is again, a good example of why if you're a 6 or 7 figure seller out there and you're trying to do this on your own, why you may want some help, because what we do is we spend a lot of time staying up to date with things like this, figuring out, how can we use this new data so that way we can gain a competitive edge over your other competitors that are out there on Amazon, and ultimately, get you higher up in the rankings and drive more profit and more sales. So I hope that you enjoyed that. Again, my name is John from First North Marketing. We help you scale your brand. We work with 6- and 7-figure CPG brands to become category leaders by applying proven strategies to drive revenue and profits on Amazon. If you are interested in working with us, or you're interested in just getting another set of eyes to see where your missed opportunities are as far as increasing revenue and increasing profit, go to our website at firstnorthmarketing.com. You can schedule a free missed opportunity call where we'll look at your account and we'll identify some of the biggest wins that you can make for your brand very quickly. And then, from there, you can decide, hey, that you want to implement them yourself, or that you want to have an expert like us do it. So thanks again for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.